Hi, Sarah, and good morning. And I'd like to welcome our special guest this morning, Republican Congresswoman from the great state of Tennessee, Diane Black. Thank you for taking the time, Congresswoman.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to be with you this morning.
You know, one of the issues that was brought up by the president's budget, and it seemed to have simmered down a bit because there's very little chance in its original form it's going to pass, was the notion of quote-unquote free community college. Now, this did come at a time where Tennessee had already made a play into this space with their program called Tennessee Promise. But I guess the definition of free is different from a federal and a state level. Maybe you can explain where education ought to be and how your plan is basically what the people of Tennessee want, but maybe it won't be a perfect fit for the entire country.
Sure. Well, first of all, let me say there are very large contrasts between what the president was proposing and what we've done here in the great state of Tennessee. First of all, it is a state initiative, which one size does not fit all. So what's good for New York is not necessarily what's good for the state of Tennessee, but it is good for us. Second, that the president's initiative would have allowed anyone to have applied and gone to community college for free. Ours specifically says it will be for students who are graduating from high school, and they must have already worked on any other scholarships. So it would be after all other scholarships had been exhausted. And then initially, essentially also a great difference is that we pay for it through lottery reserve funds, which means it's not a debt to our citizens. It's not an additional tax on them. But the president's initiative would have cost $80 billion in a budget that's already very difficult and debt that keeps mounting. So very different in contrast between what we do here in the state of Tennessee and what the president was proposing. I will say that the state of Tennessee also, we're a little different than other states in that we don't have an income tax. We balance our budget here in the state. We get our budget done on time. We work with the governor.
So your budget's balanced this year. So for the current fiscal year, you look to be balanced budget. Is that a state amendment, or is it something that Tennessee just strives for through its legislature?
No, we do have something in our Constitution that says we must balance our budget, and we must do our budget by July the 1st. And so we do that here in the state of Tennessee, and I will tell you it works well for us. Our governor works with the legislature, and we are the lowest per capita debt in the entire country without a state income tax. So we do pretty well here, and the Tennessee Promise works for us because, again, we're using reserve lottery money and not putting an additional burden on our taxpayers.
When I look at the federal program, should that perspective ever resurrect itself, here's the issue that I see. When you look at kindergarten through 12, so K-12, we see that many students don't come out to Common Core aside with the necessary math and reading skills that they should. The federal program looks to be a Band-Aid, so in essence what we may be doing is just trying to get where we should be anyway when students graduate high school. Is the Tennessee Promise program more of a remedial, let's take these students back and do what we didn't do the first time around, or are you truly trying to build a different type of education profile? Last 30 seconds, Congresswoman.
Sure, and I will tell you that one of the things the governor has done is his initiative has been to ask businesses throughout the entire state, what is it that's really needed for you to get a good workforce? And they've been told that if students had just that little bit of additional education in a community college setting, that it would be very helpful for them to have a skilled workforce. And so, once again, it's a state initiative, and we're responding to what our job creators really need and want in their businesses.
Congresswoman, thank you very much for explaining the program and being our guest this Monday morning. Sarah and Simon, back to you.
Thank you.